All right, everybody, I am finally back with a brand new DC update, and I have to apologize for my absence. I had a really big voiceover project this week, my biggest of the year, and so I was busy working on that project. I had car things I had to take care of. My dog's got a stomach issue now. It's been one thing after another this week, but I am finally here to give you that update. And the biggest thing I did since my last update is I finished the back of my studio. And believe it or not, those figures cover the whole space of if I take my arms back, that is the full 3.5 feet that I have in here. So it's a little bit back further than it was. I used to have a bookcase in here, but I took the bookcase out and I actually had a shelf from IKEA that could hold action figures across it. I cut it, and this is actually 2 different sections that are holding these figures. So when I'm doing voiceovers, I can pull them out of my studio. And when I'm not doing anything else, I could just put one in front of the other and still get out, because this will block my door with this like this. But I wanted to have the full thing. And I may end up, thinking about possibly doing something on the sides as well. You never know. But I thought this would be cool. And so when I'm in front of the camera here, we've got all the DC EU figures around me. I don't have enough to cover that whole area, so if you look at what's behind me, you've got some other figures that are not necessarily DCEU, but I wanted the DCEU to be in the video when I'm doing the videos. So I configured them that way, and they're held on there so they don't come off. So let me know what you guys think of the new background. I may have to get some LED lights to really show these off. I'll have to figure that out here in the future, but I would like them to be seen clearly. And I don't know that that's happening. It's not perfect, but we'll get the lighting figured out here in the future. All right, guys, let me know what you think, but let's take a look at the photos that I've grabbed since my last update. Oh, what could have been. All right, guys, this is the first photo I wanted to show you. There was a lot of talk about this week. Sasha Calle did an interview. I believe it was with Variety. I'm not 100% sure. But she had a little bit to say about the DCEU and her disappointment with it. So My Time to Shine Hello shared this and said, I feel so bad for her, also that diss at James Gunn. It says, Sasha Calle reveals she had a multi-picture deal with Supergirl when she signed on for The Flash. I look forward to working with people in this industry who see my value and who are excited to work with me. Now, if you read the whole entire article, she doesn't really diss James Gunn specifically, but she is very disappointed that she signed a multi-picture deal and didn't actually get to appear as Supergirl at any other point. It's really sad what Warner Brothers did. We're going to talk a little bit about Warner Brothers today in this video. They are a horrible company, and I don't know why people continue to work with them. I really do not get it. If I was a creative, I would want nothing to do with Warner Brothers at this stage. Not a dang thing. And so we're going to see some more stuff in regards to Warner Brothers here coming up. Let's move on. Every once in a while, I share stuff from people who used to be a part of Warner Brothers or DC, and we've got the great Christopher Nolan here. IMAX CEO Richard Gelfond reveals that Christopher Nolan will be using new IMAX technology for his next film. I'm pleased to share that Chris will be utilizing new IMAX technology in the making of the film. Never before used equipment that our teams have been developing through this past year. That's going to be pretty cool. It'll be pretty cool to see what that is. One thing Christopher Nolan is always doing is he's trying to rewrite the game and push the genres further, and this should be something to behold. Here's some more casting news. I kind of trolled a little bit about this on Twitter when this came out, but it says Eve Ridley has been cast as Ruthie in Supergirl, flying to theaters June 26, 2026, and the source was Deadline. And I made a joke about this that, hey, look, this isn't coming from James Gunn, so it's fake. James Gunn constantly talks about how it's not real until he says it's real. So don't believe what comes out in the trades. Deadline, I don't think Deadline has ever been wrong when they've talked about casting. So obviously James Gunn has some leaks coming from his camp, but he did have to confirm this later on. So a lot of people wanted to see a continuation of like the Justice League 2 and 3 or the Batman movie in animation. And someone posted this, says, now can we stop the animation talk? No one is coming back to finish anything in the Snyderverse in animation, live action, or nothing. And I agree with that. I don't want to see this in animation. I don't want to see it in comic book form. I want to see it live action. And Jay Oliva, or again, I could be butchering his name, he came out and said, unfortunately, that will never happen. You have to understand that writers, producers, and directors also have profit participation built into their contracts. There's no way they will take a huge pay cut to do it do it animated and receive barely any compensation in return. I don't even work for Warner Brothers, so they would have to make it worth it for me to come back to work on something like this. They would probably hand it off to someone already on staff there, if it is a possibility, which it isn't. Someone asked, are you, the Batfleck movie said, are you saying that animation isn't possible or live action? He said, if you were a writer and were promised a certain number for your script and then had to accept a much lower compensation for the same script, would you take that deal? Animation pays nowhere near what live action does. And he continues on. But I wanted to talk about this because if you want the same people to come back, it's not going to happen. None of these people even work for Warner Brothers at this stage. Warner Brothers has gone in a completely different direction, and they're throwing all of their stuff into the DCU, which may not end up, coming out as well as they expected to. We're going to see a very odd comment in regards to Lex Luthor and Superman towards the end of this video. So here's James Gunn confirming that Eve is going to play Ruthie in Supergirl, which will come out here in a couple of years. James Gunn also confirmed that Matthias Schoenaerts will play Krem of the Yellow Hills in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Yes, he is such a great actor. And so I do like him as an actor as well, but I have no feelings towards this Supergirl film. I'm not excited for it. I haven't read that storyline. When I heard it was crass and disgusting, I passed on it because that's not my type of thing. Now here you have it. Via study finds Americans prefer Ben Affleck as Batman. In a survey of 1,000 respondents, 31% of Americans think Ben Affleck is the best Batman, while Michael Keaton, 30%, Kevin Conroy, 28%, Christian Bale, 26%, Adam West, 25%, and George Clooney, 23%, and Will Arnett, 21%. Now, what's really hilarious about that, if you add that all up, that comes out to more than 100%. It says, according to their findings, Gen Z, and here's where this comes from, and this is why the percentages are wonky. It says, according to their findings, Gen Z, ages 18 to 25, and Millennial, ages 26 to 41 respondents voted for Ben Affleck. Gen Z, or Gen X, ages 42 to 45, voted for Michael Keaton. Now, I'm older than all of these, and I still voted for Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck, he is the most accurate to the comic books. And what I hear in my head, though, when I read comics, is Kevin Conroy. There's no question. He has been playing that character, the voice, for, about 30 years now. And, it's actually more than 30 years. And that's what I hear. And even he said that Ben Affleck was the most accurate to the comic books. And he would know. He was a part of that character for decades. And I totally agree with that. So it's a shame we're not getting him in more films. It was a huge missed opportunity. So James Gunn, he had nothing to do with this game, yet this again shows you that he picks and chooses what he wants to promote as the head, as the DC CEO of DC Studios. He picks and chooses. It's weird. He should be promoting everything, but he doesn't. He picks and chooses, guys, and that's not going to change. It says the reviews for Batman Arkham Shadow are in. Become the Night today, only on MetaQuest 3 and 3S. The reviews are extremely high for this, and I have yet for anybody to say that they've actually played this game. I would love to hear from somebody who has actually played it. So it says Garrett Dillahunt, who I am a huge fan of, has been cast as modern cowboy William Macon in Lanterns. Macon is described as a self-righteous, conspiracy-minded man who masks his ruthless ambition behind a charming and calculated facade. That's coming from Deadline as well, so that's pretty much a lock. Now, this is comic book related. I think this is kind of funny. So I watched Deadpool and Wolverine with my wife. She liked it more than she would like to admit that she liked it. She said it was definitely made for guys and young teenagers. But I thought this was pretty funny. I had to share it. This is coming from Martha Stewart, Ryan Reynolds, and Hugh Jackman. Martha Stewart says, neighbor Ryan Reynolds is very serious. He's not so funny in real life. No, he's not so funny. He's very serious. He's a good actor. He can act funny, but he isn't funny. Ryan Reynolds responded with, I disagree with her, but I tried that once. The woman is unexpectedly spry. She really closed the gap after a mile or so. Hugh Jackman says, finally, someone says it. And these two have been bantering back and forth. It's pretty funny stuff. You should be following these individuals. You'll get a kick out of it. It's pretty hilarious. All right, guys. So here is something we could have had. We had heard about Brendan Fraser playing Superman in the late 90s, early 2000s, and here is a test photo. And I don't know if this is real or not. The neck looks kind of funky, but for one, I don't like the cape. Okay, the cape I think is from All Seasons. I think that cape is too short. I think the cape needs to be much longer. But he could very have legitimately played this character at that time. And someone even made the comment later that if you look at the cast for The Mummy, and I think I grabbed a photo of it, hopefully we'll see it later, that if you look at the cast of The Mummy, they made the perfect cast for Superman, which is freaking hilarious. Yeah, here it is. It said, when you realize the cast of The Mummy could have been an amazing cast for Superman back in the 90s. Yeah, just look at that. You got Lex Luthor, Lois Lane, and Superman. It's pretty funny. That is a nice costume, though. You know, if they're going to use the red underwear, this is how they should have gone with it. That's actually, had this been the suit, I wouldn't have had any issues for it other than the cape. That would have been a great costume. All right, now this is something I wanted to talk about in my last video, and I forgot to talk about Warner Brothers and how they're a disgusting company to work with. And I went and saw this movie yesterday, and I will have my review of it up for it tomorrow. I was going to do it today, but I needed to get my DC update out, and I will be watching The Penguin here in about an hour, and I will have the review for that up later today as well. But I needed to talk about Juror Number 2 because this is a Warner Brothers release, guys, and it's disgusting what they've done to this film. It says Clint Eastwood's final film, Juror Number 2, is now playing in under 50 theaters nationwide. The film will not be getting a wider theatrical release. How crazy is that? 50 theaters nationwide. Now, I was lucky. I had a theater about a half an hour away from me have this film. And my wife and I went and saw it last night. And I will have my thoughts on this tomorrow. But at first, they weren't going to do anything to promote this movie. They weren't even going to put it up for any type of awards. And it looks like Warner Brothers has changed their tune. And again, this is why I wonder why anybody even works with Warner Brothers. This is Clint Eastwood's last film. You could have banked on the marketing on that alone to get people in theaters. But what do? They do not stand behind their filmmakers. It's disgusting what Warner Brothers does. Why people continue to work with them is beyond me. Now, this is pretty crazy. I actually watched this video. It says, Nicholas Hoult says his Lex Luthor in Superman is really fun and different. Do you remember what happened last time somebody made Lex Luthor really fun and different? Yeah, if I remember right, Batman vs. Superman, the anti-Snyder crowd came out and bashed that Lex Luthor. Do you think they're going to have the same tune this time? We will see when this gets released. Really fun and different could mean many different things. I'm really surprised he didn't say funny. Because it seems like everybody talking about this film, that's what they talk about, is the funny aspect of it. All right, guys, so I really wanted to get that update out here for you guys. It's been a long time, but honestly, the news has been extremely slow this week, so I haven't had a whole lot of materials, and I don't want to just come in and do a 2-minute video. If something big and breaking comes out, I will do a short video, under 5 minutes for that kind of stuff, but unless there's a bunch of news, there could be a little bit of a gap. But I do expect as we get closer to Creature Commandos and we get closer to Superman, there is going to be a crap ton of news coming out. I'm going to be doing a lot more reviews on my channel for toys, games, movies, especially in TV shows. I've got a couple of movie reviews coming out. I've got the Juror #2 movie review coming out tomorrow. I will probably also get up a review for Bratz, which is playing on, it's a Hulu documentary done by Andrew McCarthy, which we watched today, and I've got to do my review on that. So there's going to be a lot of reviews coming up along with the DC and superhero news that I typically do. So if you aren't subscribed yet, please, first of all, hit the like button on this video, subscribe, and then hit that notification bell, and you will be notified as I have new videos go up. We will see you guys on the next video.